Hey, good. Hello, everybody. Once again, this is Greg West with the Black Community Blackboard page here on YouTube and other social media platforms. Once again, it's time for our conversation with Joe Cooley Love. Yeah, I know we missed a couple weeks, but a lot of things have been going on. But hey, that doesn't mean that she still hasn't been busy in the community. Still doesn't mean that she's still not trying to find out how to serve you with the best interest for the people. With that being said, like I say every week, this platform was created so that we could highlight the people in our community that are doing positive things. Because so many times, if you depend on the narrative of what the mainstream media talks about, all you hear is negativity is about the Black community. This channel here is created in love to talk about all the positivity. So if you know anybody that you would like to see highlighted on here, please get with us. Our email will be in the chat, or you can go to Black Community Blackboard at gmail.com, or you can give us a call at 937-581-3507. All of that will be in the chat. So, let's highlight our heroes that are doing good things in the community. You know, one thing we have to recognize is that the grassroots organizations are the ones that are sustaining the community. And with that being said, before we get into the political talk like we always do, let's talk to Joe about some of the grassroots efforts that she's doing, mainly regarding. Go ahead, Joe. Let's talk about that a little bit tonight.
Sure, absolutely. I recently was a part of several meetings. One, the first at Gem City Market. I had an opportunity to sit in with several local organic growers in a meeting with their produce manager to basically talk about how we can get the food that we're growing at our local farms directly into the market for people and making it to a point where it's going to ensure not only that you get local, organically grown food, but that you get it at a cost that you can afford. Because if you
Right,
have access to the food, but you still can't afford it, it still doesn't give you food sovereignty. And
right,
so it's very important that we are able to have um, the ability to have nutritional foods available and accessible to us at a reasonable cost. It shouldn't be that you have to go miles out of your way to be able to eat, or that the things that you can eat within your realm are non-nutritious. They're equatable to cardboard or eating cardboard, and it's unfortunate because a lot of people are having to do that now, being that, like I said, I personally feel like living in the food Sahara, and it's getting worse all the time. They're closing more grocery stores than they're opening. And so, with that being the case, having this partnership, having this be facilitated by Gem City Market, and they actually taking the initiative to create this program, but also in creating the program, sharing the plan and the structure so that it can be recreated. We then start leading to a more sustainable approach toward food sovereignty. Because it's not that we can't have it, it's just going to take a little bit more work than maybe we have seen before, but it's going to take work of the people doing for themselves.
now, that came up twice in this conversation so far. Food sovereignty. For the ones who don't understand what that is, could you please explain a little bit? Give us a definition of what food sovereignty is and how it helps our community.
Absolutely. So food sovereignty is basically having the ability to have access to, not, like I said, not just food, but legitimately nutritional foods that are going to give you the vitamins, the nutrients, the things that you need to not just feed your body physically, but feed your mind, because a lot of, well, everything that you put into your body has more than just the effect on the physicality. It does change your emotions. It affects your mental. That's how they're able to create the junk food defense. So if we're gonna have that as the norm right now, what we need for food sovereignty is to be able to have access to nutritional foods and have it at a place where we can actually not just see it, but acquire it. And that means having it at an affordable cost. So sovereignty is having the ability to then actually attain these things. So it's not putting it in front of your face to where now you don't, you still, it's just a concept for you. Sovereignty is now we teach you the back end. It's not just about giving you access to these things. It's about teaching you, what do you do with these things? How do you actually prepare it so that it's a nutritional meal for you and that you'll like it? How do you grow it for yourself? Because food sovereignty isn't just about being supplied with it, but again, having access to it. So if that store is out of whatever, you can do it for yourself. The access doesn't end there. It is an all around ownership of access to nutritional foods.
And with us being in the middle of a food desert, or it's your word, food Sahara, the growing the urban farmer is something as a concept that a lot of people don't really realize how important it is. Let's talk about how long have you been growing, and what are your plans on the future, and what kind of products have you been growing?
So, as I've been back in Dayton, I've been growing for about 2+ years at the Salem Street Garden. Within the past year or so, a little bit more than a year, I got involved in the Westwood Elementary School Garden. And then I do my own um, uh, in-house shrubbery and uh, food growing. And then before then, when I lived in Omaha, and when I lived in California, gardened at smaller plots. One at a plot in my friend's backyard, just several community gardens, wherever I could find a space, basically, I was there assisting with gardening. And like I said, the growing of food it gives you ownership to know that you can do this, that you could take a literal seed, something so small and so seemingly insignificant, and produce a mass crop that could feed you and your family without you spending millions of dollars. Because that seed, I promise you, it's not going to cost more than a few dollars. It's not. And sometimes you can get it for free off of something you've already eaten. And that's
Right.
where you get an heirloom seed. And that's a seed that has been passed down because it has been kept and documented and hasn't been modified. And so and all of that, I personally been growing probably, I don't keep track of time like that, but I would say maybe like 7 years,
Okay.
maybe a little bit more than 7 years. And then I'm still part of a cooperative out of Omaha, so we have land out there, and we're kind of doing similar things out there because the food desert is not a singular story. This issue is not singular, and the need for food sovereignty isn't singular today. And so, yeah, I've been spreading it wherever I can, like seeds,
Right, right, right. And that's what
everywhere I can.
I
Yeah.
like that. It's like seeds. So it was good today when I bumped into you over there to edge my solar gardens and everything like that. Um, what was your role over there to do? What were you over there today doing?
So at Edgemont, one, I went over to discuss their CSU incubator. They have a what's the word? I'm losing it. They have a program where they're basically incubating growers. And so you can sign up to be a grower. Their applications have closed, but it is still an opportunity that they have rolling through Central State University. So I was there for that, but I was also there to talk about the Westwood Elementary School Garden. Over there, there is a small plot that we have of raised beds that we use to engage with the children, usually ages grade 4 through 6. And so I was there to talk about that and the possible expansion of the land there, because there is a mass amount of land connected to that school, because there used to be the recreational center there. And so that land's now clear and possibly an additional growing space. But in talking to them, we also, talked about creating STEAM programs where we're growing now the growers, where we're taking the fourth and sixth graders, showing them how to grow, showing them how to create things like pizza toppings, which could be arugula, it could be onion, it could be tomato, showing them those things, having them grow them, and then having them, serve it to the younger generation, the pre-K through third. So now you're able to pass on that message, and you're able to pass on um, the idea that you can grow your own. And so that's what I was there today to do, was to talk about growing for myself, but it became growing and spreading the message of growing even further than myself, which was even more beautiful.
Right, it is. And one thing, the urban, the importance of the urban farmer, whether people realize it or not, if you notice anywhere that we have urban farmers and those growers, the quality of the air in that community is changing. This is some of that holistic thing about, when we always talk about ain't nobody coming to save us, we got to save ourselves. And, like that's one of the environmental things that I really appreciate about what you urban farmers doing. And, that's why, hopefully down the road where I'm partnering with Edgemont, for Felons with a Future in the evenings when we teach our classes there. Some of our men or women who are in the program might partner up with them so that they can learn how to become urban farmers. And I would love to enter into a partnership with you as you grow with your grower so that you can teach them too and everything like that. Because the more we have, that's more food that's back into our community. That's healthy and at a good price and everything. So like I don't know if
And
you go ahead.
and growing truly is a meditative
That's where
activity.
I was going to go
So
to.
in growing, you like I said, you're seeding literal life, because at the end of the day, what you're growing gives you life. It is life in and of itself. And so in becoming a grower, you actually start to strip away a lot of things, just like you prune the plant, you kind of release a lot of things because of the simplicity, but the elegance of growing and fostering that. So I think it helps holistically a person. It helps truly, not just because you get to put the food in your body at the end of the day, but because you get the process of seeing the food being grown right in front of you.
And transition in this conversation because one of the things that I would like to see if we ever have the chance to see you sitting down there as a city commissioner, where working with these our urban growers and finding places where we can have open markets again, where we can sell them not just at the Gym City Market because we understand that co-op is important and is helping, but what about over in West Dayton where we really have this desert? You know,
Absolutely.
I remember when I was running, they were talk for county commissioner, they was talking about the food truck that would come around to sell groceries and everything like that.
And they had it for a moment, but it's another program that fell to the wayside.
Yeah, and but that still doesn't. We're still over there in a Sahara, like you were saying.
Right.
So hopefully, as we get more urban gardeners and urban farmers, we can have fresh fruit markets. You know what I'm saying? Not just the one on
Right.
Gettysburg, but also in our communities. Get back to how it was supposed to be, where we supply our own food and we can trade and sell with ourselves and everything. Now, with that, listen. So what's going on with your campaign?
Right now I am I am working to get my name on the ballot still. It didn't happen within the first round, which ended on uh, March the 12th. They did their final counting, and according to their final count, I didn't have enough sufficient to have 500 signatures to be recommended to the board. During the process, though, there were several things that I just found irregular in the handling of everything. One was that every time I would call, they would tell me to call back later, and would never give me my results. From what I understand, is because they were recounting to confirm that it didn't have enough. However, in that, there was an opportunity, if they knew that, for me to then come in and correct the ones that didn't, because a lot of the corrections were simply that they didn't believe that the person's signature was genuine. And that is an issue because, one, if a person is sending in an absentee ballot and their signature isn't exactly the same as what you have on file, are you discounting it there? And then two, in some cases it's so blatantly clear that the person printed and then signed, and yet they still didn't count it. And then there's other discrepancies that I found, of people who should have just been counted, just plain and simple. But on their markings, they've listed them that they're not registered. I've personally found that they're registered off of the Montgomery County Board of Elections voter registration form. I can screenshot it and show you where they say they're not registered, but I can prove that they're registered. And so there's also a miscount. And so in all of these things that I've had to deal with, I realized, and even before I dealt with them, I realized the process is skewed. The process is inefficient. The process is cumbersome. And truly, we're just trying to get ourselves on the ballot. And I'm not the only one that feels this way. Plenty of people who have gone through this position. I know David Roddy is going through it as well. And his are from duplicates. And the issue with that is that they don't tell us who they're saying they signed before, because according to them, you can't sign more than two. And so if you're the third one, you're a duplicate. Um, but in that process, again, there's so many nuances that it's inefficient. It's
And,
inefficient.
and when you say it's cumbersome, explain to the community, like I know when I ran for county commission, I didn't have to go through, how many, let's do
So
it like
so
this.
you have to, for city commissioner, let's say for
Yes,
city
let's talk
commissioner,
about
you
that.
have to do 500. For county commissioner, it's 50. For Senate, I think it's 50. I mean, you could become a senator with 50 signatures, but for city commissioner, in the city of Dayton, and again, this is not an across the board stipulation that has been passed down from Ohio voter laws. This is the city of Dayton choosing to have the city commissioner require 500 votes. And now I can speculate why they would do something like that, especially with the way that the city of Dayton is structured with our city manager as the CEO. And so requiring that certain things have to be met in order for a person to become city commissioner, it kind of weeds out grassroots individuals such as myself, because I know, other uh, other individuals are able to kind of just have the political party back them. And again, this is a nonpartisan race. So that's another reason why it just seems so skewed, because 500 votes for a nonpartisan race, but only 50 for a partisan race, voted by and advised over by a partisan board. And it the way it looks to me is that it's purposely, like I said, just disenfranchising to individuals who don't have the seed money to set up huge mass events, to have several hundred people working for them to make sure that you can get 500 signatures and make sure that person is within the city of Dayton, prints and signs, even their paper doesn't have enough space. People complain, I can't write both my print and my signature. If you write just your signature and they can't recognize your name, they're not going to put you in, right? If your address is, I had one whose address was correct and everything. Again, I don't know why they discounted them, but they said they weren't registered. They're fully registered. So then you have to deal with who's counting. Then you have to deal with, after you send it in, um, you have to wait. And then, like I said, they told me initially, oh, just give us a few days. The count will be done. You can call us back and we'll tell you. But every time I called back, I got call back later, till finally it was too late. And I was at a point where they were turning them in. So I really didn't have time to even correct ones, because you do have the ability to correct.
Now, a question I have, and it's worth me doing some research for myself and find
Yeah.
out, but maybe you might have the answer. Is the to get on the ballot here, to change that, could that be something that could be a ballot initiative for the people to, you know what I'm saying, say, hey, this is what we want to do, or does that have to go through the city commission to be changed?
So that's like technically, yes, you can, as the people, change this law. You can submit an ordinance to, unfortunately, the city commissioners. And on right now, the city commissioners can vote you down 3-2. So no, you can't. But technically, you should be able to. How about that? You should be able to. And even in that should be able to, they have put it that you have to have 1,250 voters to create a new ordinance and 2,500 to ratify a previous ordinance. So I am only collecting 500 signatures. And in that one, you have to collect, like I said, 1,250, and you have to do it within the 30-day window from filing your petition.
That's
So
a lot.
unless you have already done the legwork to say, I already know the 12,000 or the 1,250 people I'm going to collect these signatures from. I know they're registered. I know they're going to da da da. Unless you've already done that legwork, you're going to be doing a rush job trying to get signatures. And then, like me, they can be like, oh, they're not registered. They're out of the jurisdiction, which is a fair assessment. Um, they are a, well, it wouldn't be a duplicate, but their signature doesn't look genuine. So
Yeah, and I
yes or
find
no?
yeah, and I find it also funny that, like, I remember growing up, to work in the city of Dayton, you had to live in the city of Dayton. They've changed that, here it is. You can work for the city of Dayton, not live in the city of Dayton. But
But you can't vote
even
on
if
the city of Dayton issues
even if you're in one of those places on the fringes where
on the
your
edge.
where your kids are in the Dayton public school system,
Yes.
but you're content, yeah. So
But your contingency is that you, just because of the side of the street you're on, 3 doors down. And that's because of a whole nother issue with gerrymandering and
right,
district divisions and how they do it for partisan based elections. Again, we're back to partisanship in a non-partisan race, but I digress. Um, I am at a point now where I am trying to uh, run down the people that I feel, and it's not just me, because again, this is your signature that you put on my page. So I'm more upset for you that they would say that you're not registered. Are they going to do that when you go to vote? Are they going to miss your registration and say that you don't have the ability to vote? It speaks to a lack of actual work done for someone who says that they repeatedly check these. If you've had it checked 4 times and you all came back with them not registered, then there's a true issue, because I found it on the first go around.
right. So
Um,
yeah, go ahead.
yeah,
Hmm.
I I just think what we need in this situation is a ratification of this so that people don't have to go through all of this to get to a city commissioner ballot. Again, this doesn't even get me voted. I'm not taking a
Right.
seat with this. I'm just getting on the ballot for people to vote for me.
And you know, that goes back to what I'm often saying, that we have so many voter registration rallies and stuff like that, but we need to have more voter education.
We definitely do. Yeah.
Especially in the city of Dayton, and not just here, but in the surrounding areas, because a lot of people don't even know how our government works, you know. And this is one of those times where I'm hoping that people are watching this and say, "Hey, that just doesn't sound right," and hopes.
And if you want to talk to me, please come up and talk to me. I will. I don't know everything. I'm not going to claim to know everything, but I can point you in direction and we can talk about it because I think it definitely needs to be talked about. It can't just continue to go along as it is.
Right. And you know, one of the things that we do during these conversations, not just talk about your political, run and everything like that, or we talk about the social issues that are going on. What are I know that you're very active in the community. I know that you're very not just vocal, but you're also easy to find out in the community. What are some of the things that you have coming up, and where will you be at if people want to talk to you, like you just said?
So I will be at Salem Street Garden every Saturday, pretty much since our growing season is starting. You can come volunteer. Volunteers get free produce. You don't even have to pay for it. You can come volunteer with us and get fresh organic. And I promise, once the growing season starts, it's like you can harvest so much and have the freshest vegetables available to you. The Clergy Community Coalition, they're the organization fighting to, at this point, Phoenix Next is taking over the corner of Salem and what is that, Philadelphia?
Hmm.
And they are going forward with their plans, but they have not. The Clergy Community Coalition has not stopped voicing their dissatisfaction. They have not um, stopped left the table. They are still fighting to bring adequate healthcare services on the west side of Dayton. Um, on Fridays, they do protest at that location at 11:30, weather permitting. That means over 45 degrees and not raining. If they are protesting, I will most likely be there. I'm going to be at the Westwood Community Center Garden this Friday as well. Um, if it rains, we will be inside, so we might not be able to invite the whole community in. But that's where I will be. If it doesn't rain, we will definitely be looking for people in the Westwood area. If you want to volunteer in that community space, like I said, we're trying to craft it so that we can bring both the community and the children of the school together to take care of this space. And hopefully, like I said, there's so much land there to grow something larger so that they can sustain the whole community there. Um, I will be tomorrow and Friday as well. Time permits going out to, like I said, try to gather these affidavits. So I might be showing up at your house if I need to.
Yeah.
Uh,
So have her a bottle of water as she knocks on your door.
right. And then I'm always at my campaign headquarters, Third Perk, most days.
Good
I
coffee.
Yes, any poetry events I will be at. Um, you will see me around for sure.
Yeah.
Yes.
If anybody wanted to help you financially, or with these gardening things, where could they how could they do that?
Oh, for the garden things, for the Westwood Garden, I would think you would want to donate to the garden directly. We do have a garden bank account, and so if you want to reach out to me in any capacity, you can email me at J-O, at COOLEYLOVE.com. and I can direct you to the right people to take the funds for that. Same with the Salem Street Garden. I do not actively collect the funds in either situation, but I can definitely direct you to the people who could gather those donations. I know the Dakota Center, the Wesley Center, Edgemont Center, these are all garden spaces that are not just looking for funds, but for volunteers. So
Volunteers.
you can definitely go out. Not only are you giving your time back, but you are getting an education. And trust me, it is an education you are going to want in the upcoming years, because food is not guaranteed.
Yeah,
It should be. It
it
should
should
be,
be, but like
but
you
it
said,
is
it's not.
not.
Right.
And so we definitely want to have food sovereignty for yourself. And so if you're, each individual has to want that for themselves. We definitely want it for each other. And I will do what I can to make sure it is available. But you also have to want it for yourself. And so if you want to go out and volunteer, it is a great education, because then you can take it home, you can pass it on.
Okay. As usual, Joe, this is always a pleasure for our weekly or bi-weekly, however we get together. Our conversations are
Our
our community.
conversations when they
Yeah,
happen. I gotta
yeah,
tell you,
yeah.
like I
And
said, I don't keep time. Sometimes it keeps me, and so
right.
we'll
So
definitely
listen,
keep time.
hopefully next week when we meet, we have an update on what's going on with your campaign and everything.
Yeah,
But more importantly, let's keep on bringing back topics that we need to talk about in our community that will help heal the community. Because we have so many negative things that's going on, and this gardening, this urban farming is one of the things that is really helping heal our community in many ways. The one, people don't realize that when you get into the soil, you get your fingers, you're grounding with Mother Earth. That gives your body, since we're all part of the same universe, it gives our body something to, connect back to where we come from. So I appreciate the work that you do. I appreciate our conversations that we have, and I look forward to them. So before we get out of there, if there's anything that you want to tell everybody before next week, just, this is your time. Talk about what's important to you.
I appreciate it, and I enjoy our conversations as well. Like I said, right now my focus are these affidavits. I need to collect these signatures, so I will be reaching out to individuals who have signed my petition. If you've known you've signed my petition, please reach out to me at either the People for Cooley Love on Facebook or Instagram, or you can reach out my personal account, which is just Joe Cooley Love, or uh, you can find it at Not Your Average Cup of Joe on Facebook and Instagram. Um, and just let me know. I have reached out in a few group messages that I know, but like I said, you might see me at your door. Just don't be alarmed. I'm there with the notary to collect some signature, and we'll be on our way.
And have her a bottle of water.
Yes.
Yes. Okay, Joe, again, I thank you. And before I get out of here, for all the ones who are looking to participate in this Saturday's Breakfast Club with that Felons with a Future and a couple other organizations we're putting on, we had to reschedule the date. The date we have not picked a new date, but we also will be having partnering with Be Love Foundation up at Wesley Center, April the 8th. The food giveaway, Easter egg hunt for the kids. So please bring them out for that. Um, we are still, taking donations for people who would like to contribute with the baseball game that we're buying. We're planning on taking over 50 kids to in May. I will have all of that stuff in the chat. That way, if you would like to buy a ticket and donate it for us to take one of the children, you can do so. It's a win-win. It's a win-win, situation. Not only does it give a younger, one of our younger people in our community experience something that they haven't done. It also helps the organization that is sponsoring that Felons with a Future, where they're able to, still do the services that they do for our community, for our restored citizens, teaching them how to become entrepreneurs and hopefully turning some of them into gardeners so that they can sell their own their own produce as they become a business owner. So with that being said, we thank you and we will see you next week. With that being said, everybody, peace and blessings and have a good day.